So one thing we can do to take our animations to the next level is actually add movement. So Entourage in Lumion, so Entourage being like people, trees, cars, can actually move. And what we can do in movie mode is actually animate them. So watch this. If I were to grab a person, and let me just place somebody who looks like a walking homeowner. And this is where it's important to make sure you find somebody who looks like they're walking. Because if they're actually walking in the pose, they'll move in the animation. So to show you what I mean, if I find somebody walking, yeah, let's grab this guy. I'm going to place him right here. So you see how he's walking in place? That's because I haven't given him a path to walk on. So I'm just going to rotate him real quick. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, if I go back to movie mode and I go with this, I'm going to hit, actually, I'll go with this one just because you'll see him walking. If I go to add effect, there is a whole tab under animation, right? So there's a couple different ways to move people, right? You have mass move, you have advanced move, and you have a simple move. So I'm going to show you mass move. This is great if you're doing like a super large public project and there's like 100 different people walking. Let me show you what happens. I'm going to hit edit, and it's going to ask me to define a path. So I'm going to click here and click here. So anyone who is trapped in this box, right, will be picked up by this and actually move. You see this arrow? That's the direction he'll be moving in. This, since it's like a person, we have it calibrated to person speed. If we want them to go faster, we'd increase this. So check this out. I'm going to hit confirm changes. He's now going to be picked up by this. So if I hit play, we should see him walking. There we go. Across the path, right? So you could do this for people, crowds, and everything. So a little bit of this is super interesting. It adds, some life to your animations. So this is fun to try out. And the other cool thing is you can use it to go in both ways. So let's say you're doing like an actual like traffic path. Let's say I was doing cars. So let me just grab this. Okay. I can have a path going forward and backwards. So watch this. I hit check mark and let me just grab some cars so you can see this. Grab this. And I'll place this here and here, and I'll rotate these guys. Okay, great. So I've got that there. I'm going to go back to movie mode. Let's go to edit. And we want to make sure that they're actually part of this. Yeah, exactly. Because if they're not in the box, they're not going to move that path, move along that path. Oops. Okay, great. So I'm going to hit confirm changes. And all I'm going to do is move this camera so we can see that area a little bit better. So I'm just going to do this. You don't need to overwrite your camera settings. I'm just doing this to show you. Okay, and you'll notice that there's some distance here. So check this out. So now when I hit play, the cars are moving. But you see the pace they're moving? Super slow. And that's because of the speed before. It was calibrated for a person. So now if I were to increase this, and then go back and hit play, I didn't hit check mark, so that's why I didn't save. If I were to do this, and then this, you'll see the cars moving. And just know when they reach the end, they're going to despawn and then respawn on the other side. So that's what's happening here. But you can see, super easy way for you to add animations. I personally like this method the most just because it's so simple to put someone on the track and move them. The other option is if you click move here and then go to edit, you have to select an object. Okay, just selected there. And then you have to key it. So if I move this here, so we've got our start position. So what I want to do is move him all the way there. I'll make that the end position. And there you go. So that's the other way of doing it. For a single person, this way's totally fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But for multiple things like the cars I was showing you, you would use the other one. But there's nothing wrong with using advanced move for one person. Okay. Then the next cool advanced thing that I want to show is animated phasing. This one I find might be super useful for you if you're showing construction diagrams. So watch this. If I hit add and I select an object, I want to go with import, click this, and check mark. So watch this. Oop. It looks like it spawns into place. So now let me add some more. I'm going to grab some vegetation. So I'm going to go to select objects. And let's select nature. We'll select all this, just the stuff that's around the house. Okay, and we'll stagger just so it looks a little more. And for some reason that didn't get picked up. Let me reselect it and then check mark. So now for the vegetation, if I go in here and I start selecting them, for some reason, and this might be a glitch in Lumion, you can't do bulk selection here. So watch this. If I were to select everything here, I'd have to then hit the check mark. So it doesn't do it by default. So it's like I'd have to select everything and then click, and then it activates it. So now if I hit check mark and play it, so kind of neat, right? And the reason the house did that double take is because I had selected it twice in here. So if I were to remove this and just do this animation, it's like the whole house is appearing. So it's kind of cool that it's all growing, but yeah, that's how you would do the animated phasing. And then the last effect I'll show you is advanced move. This is if you're moving someone or something among different paths. So it's not just like A to B, but it's more like A, B, C, D, and E, right? So if I were to just grab, let's say this bush, right? I would add a keyframe. I'd move time along. It automatically gets keyed. I move the time. Click there, and you see how we have A, B, and C. So now we have this happening. So if you have something that needs to like kind of bop around, that's what you would do there. I'm just going to cancel that and delete it. Simple way to add life to your videos.